Hello guys, welcome back to Reviews by Hunter. That's me, I'm Hunter, and today I'm going to be starting my first ever anime series that I'll actually be doing weekly, and I decided to go with Sakamoto Days, which was one of my favorite new animes. We got the first part to season 1, and then it ended, I think, a couple months ago, and so now I actually didn't realize this till today that they have been releasing episodes for part 2 of season 1. So they have episodes 12 through 15, I believe, at the time I'm recording this video. But anyway, this is my reaction slash review to Sakamoto Days, season 1 still, but part 2, episode 12. With the anime reviews, they're going to be a little bit different than the movie ones. I'm really going to try hard to make it 10 minutes or less on these reviews. Let's see if I could actually do it, but here we go. So Sakamoto Days, the story of a former hitman assassin, one of the best ever, and he is retired to be a family man that runs a grocery store. The story continues. So this episode overall, I think, was like a fairly solid opener for a, season 1 part 2 or a season 2, however you want to refer to it as. It wasn't like amazing, like it didn't blow me out of the water, but it was fun. It was still good. So the order is still like investigating Slur and the death row inmates. They're actually hunting down the death row inmates, and the death row inmates are going around and they're just killing like these C rank and B rank assassins pretty much with ease. Okay, and that's important to remember what kind of the rankings are. There's like C rank, B rank, A rank, S rank. Oh, I believe there's also D rank too. So C and B rank, like, they're not incapable of fighting. So they're just killing these guys with ease. You have Dump. Dump is the only woman of the death row inmates, and her ability seems to be like, it seems like she can like squeeze someone to death or something along the lines of that. I'm not exactly sure, but still dangerous. You have Apart. Apart is like this OCD death row inmate who, as his name implies, he likes to take people apart by slicing them, dismembering them with like this thin wire that he uses as a weapon, and that just cuts through flesh like it's butter. And then you have Minimalist. He's like this tall, jacked guy. His whole deal is that he can just crush either people or objects into like super small spheres. And then we have Saw. So Saw's gonna be the main death row inmate that we get to spend time with in this episode. He's like this laid back type of guy who believes really in killing people, I guess, in the most interesting way possible, the way that he puts it. Essentially, the way that I kind of took it is that Saw looks at it as the stronger you are, the more interesting I will make your send-off. But if you're weak, then he considers them boring and he just wants to kill them as quickly as possible. His fighting style involves using what I think it's an axe tied to a rope, and he kind of swings it around, and it's pretty versatile. So the main like focus point of this episode really was about Shin. So Shin in this episode is with Lou, and they get ambushed by Saw. Okay, Saw is targeting Shin and Lou, and so they get into a fight. And at first, Saw pretty much clearly has the upper hand. What's his name? Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Shin, my goodness. He is trying to read his thoughts with clairvoyance, and at first he can, until it gets to the point where the only thing on Saw's mind is death. Just kill. So he can't telegraph his moves. The only thing that's on Saw's mind that Shin can read is just kill. And I guess the reasoning for that is because, again, like I said, Saw views Shin and Lou as just being weaklings. They don't deserve a interesting death. He just wants to kill them and get it over with. And I think being a death row inmate who's racked up tons of kills, he might be the type of like character in the show that doesn't need to think too hard about their moves before they do them. But we'll come back to that. So yeah, that we have that main fight going on. It's not much of a back and forth at first. They're getting whooped. We then cut away to the order. They're driving on the freeway. Osaragi is driving and is a terrible driver, by the way. At one point, she backs up on the freeway because they missed their exit. Like, these guys just do whatever they want, the Order. But there's an old man within the Order. I think it's like Yotsumura, something along the lines of that. He is the oldest member, it looks like, of the Order. And there's a fly that flies by his face, and he literally takes the entire top off the vehicle with his sword with a single stroke of his blade. Super badass. And then he just goes back to sleep, sleeping the whole time. So interesting. I don't know if his ability is just like he has super reflexes or something along the lines of that, but I thought that was actually pretty cool. Sakamoto makes a comment that Shin and Liu haven't returned, and he's kind of worried about them, and he makes a comment that Shin has not really had a lot of experience putting his life on the line enough to the point that it would force him to reach his full potential, right? And that's kind of what we see in this episode. While fighting Saw, Shin awakens a new part of his clairvoyance, which is not to just read the thoughts of his opponents, but it's actually to see slightly into the future, to see what they're going to do before they do them. At this point, Shin was faced with an opponent that was clearly far more skilled than he was, and I guess it pushed him to kind of go past his limit of clairvoyance, and now Shin can see into the future. For how far he can see, I don't know. Probably just like maybe a minute, maybe a few seconds, but it's just enough that Saw is starting to get frustrated because before he even knows what move he's going to make, Shin has already stopped him. Like, at one point, he goes to swing his axe, and before he can even swing it, like, he gets to here, and Shin has already, like, stopped him mid, trying to assassinate him. I thought it was sick. Using this new ability, Shin and Liu get the upper hand on Saw, which was freaking awesome. Yeah, so this, and I think that's how the episode ended. At least that's what my notes are telling me. So yeah, overall, pretty solid first episode of the second part of the season. Again, animation I thought was good. It didn't blow me away. There was some good action, maybe not super memorable, but it was good. And I feel like this episode was mainly sort of just a kind of a reminder to get us up to speed on who is who and who belongs to what faction, because we kind of saw like a little bit of everybody. We obviously see Team Sakamoto, we see the Order, we see all of the death row inmates. Like, we see a lot of characters in this episode, but definitely the star of the show is Shin, who has broken past his limits and clearly now is a little bit stronger than he was before. I think I forgot to mention, by the way, that Saw has like this, he has a list of his targets and what their ranks are. I don't think they're ranked by death row inmates. They're probably ranked either by maybe Slur himself, because I'm pretty sure Slur was the one that breaks them out of death row. So they are ranked based on skill, right? And he shows Shin that he is he says Shin is a D rank. And then he says that Liu is, I want to say, a C rank. So they're kind of low on the totem pole, according to the death row inmates target list. There goes my background, like always. Man, I really got to get a better version of that. Anyway, that's my reaction review of this episode of Sakomoto Days, one of my new favorite animes. Again, I think it was pretty solid, just more of a, getting us back up to date on what's going on from season part 1. But I'm excited for Shin's new ability. I want to see kind of like how far can he see into the future, because that would certainly knock him out of being a D rank assassin, and I think bumps him up to at least being like a C or B rank, right? That's a crazy nice ability to have. But let me know what you thought of this episode of Sakomoto Days. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you enjoy this content. And that's all I got for you today. Thank you. See you later.